We are live with Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast. This is episode 5, and there's a lot to talk about. We have the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Perfect timing to have a podcast today. I'm here today, as always, with John Frisha, editor over at The Escapist. How you doing, John?
What it do? I'm good.
What it do?
What it do, baby boo?
Then we have Greg Vargas, writer over at PC Invasion and Twitch streamer over at Dynamite Giraffe. How you doing, Greg?
Hey man, I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Pretty good. I'm excited about tomorrow. Then we have, lastly, Brett Larson, just an average guy who's not special at all.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
King of the Dilfs.
King of the average normal
king.
Dude. The Dilfs. Oh, that's good.
The guy who's way too attractive to be on this podcast, Brett Larson.
I like it. I will accept that.
So this episode is going to be a little different than usual. We're not going to go over a list of news, but we will jump into what we're playing first. But then after that, we're just going to talk all about the Nintendo Direct, what we think is going to happen, what's going to actually be there, and then what we want to be there. Two totally different things. So first, I'll just start things off. Usually I throw it to Greg. He's usually first. But today I'm feeling a little like John. So John, what are you playing?
Mixing it up. I like it.
If only I could mix it up, but alas, I am playing Yakuza.
Still. The new Greg.
John, Yakuza,
Yeah,
Greg,
right.
Apex every week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So I'm on Kiwami 2 now. Kiwami was like, I don't know, it was okay, but coming off of 0, it just sort of felt like a so-so expansion pack. But Kiwami 2 is on like the same engine as Like a Dragon, so all of a sudden like the graphics look like twice as good. And Kiwami looked good in the first place, but Kiwami 2, like the lighting is on like a completely different level, and like everything's like really beautiful now. And the story in general is just like grabbing me more. So like I'm back to being real happy. And I'm back to telling women what to do again because there's another.
Come on, John.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Goodbye.
This was
because there's this Hostess Club minigame, and this is like a recurring thing in the series, and it's like wildly addicting for some reason. And so like.
Hey, they pull no punches in that series, though. I've heard.
Yeah.
Like they do some shit that you're like, wow.
Yeah, they go to a lot of places I can't even probably completely discuss on this particular podcast. But it's
for the After Hours podcast,
stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So that's what I'm doing. Kiwami 2.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been staring at those games because they took down a few of them off of Game Pass. That's actually, it might have just been 0 they took away, but all the other ones are still on there. I'm like, man, I want to play all these, and they're right in front of me. Like I could click play on them, but it's just like, what a dedication to play through all the freaking Yakuza games.
You're just gonna get sucked into that portal and like never come out of the Yakuza portal ever again. That's my main reason I haven't started that. Or what's the detective one?
Ace Attorney.
Sorry.
Something.
Judgment.
Judgment. Yeah, I don't know why I said Lost. Yeah,
I
Lost Judgment.
Judgment. Yeah,
Judgment or Lost Judgment. I wanted to play both of those really bad. Like they look freaking.
I have
fantastic.
those too. I haven't played them yet.
Are you?
I don't know how closely they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how closely they are to the Yakuza games, but apparently, like they're pretty close. Like the games
in the same world.
Yeah, and in the same world, and like they feel the same. They played kind of the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've heard gameplay wise, it's pretty similar. It's just that now I think you're like a detective, and like there's definitely like a big mystery. There's usually a small mystery element to like every game, but it's like a big driving mystery in Judgment.
I hear they're a little bit more grounded, and so they're kind of like a good introduction to Yakuza before Yakuza just like blows the doors off and like your whole world has changed.
Probably. Like you couldn't go much bigger than the Yakuza games have gone. Like just in the few I've played, things get like ridiculous. Like in one of the games, I blew up a chopper.
I'll still never forget the clip I saw of someone fighting in a room, and all the guys were like grown fat men in diapers. I'm like, what the
Oh,
hell
yeah.
is this game?
I've played that now in 2 different Yakuza games. Yeah,
Oh,
that.
there they are.
It's a
There's
common
100%.
Oh my god!
Oh,
What
my
is
lord.
happening
So-
in that game?
Like
So do you guys-
what?
So does
That's
it
what
does
I'm
the
saying.
series just like keep getting more ridiculous, or do they do like what Saints Row like the third did, and they just like take it to outer space, or is it like more diapers?
I'm not sure yet because I'm
More
only in
diapers.
my 7-0-1-2. Okay, I'm in my 4th of the game, so I'm not sure yet. But like, it just kind of keeps telling the story of like a particular set of characters, and each game kills off like 1,000,000 people. Yeah, like it gets depressing. Like every time there's some new cool character, it's like, oh, they're cool. It's gonna suck when they die.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like you
kinda
don't want to grow any
The wa-
attachments because there's a good
The Walking
chance they
Dead
won't be around for
mentality.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead or Game of Thrones did that kind of thing too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're fun stories.
Yeah.
Next up, I'll go ahead and toss it to who do we got here? Let's go ahead and give it to Greg. Greg, what are you playing?
Yeah. Yes. So I've been continuing on my Horizon Zero Dawn journey, and I
Yes.
finally like I didn't realize that you could attribute like certain things to like your like the different outfits and stuff. So like it'll give you
Mhm.
like plus 15 damage, and what's weird is like I unlocked a bunch all at once, and I thought it was going to be a little bit slower, and I was going to like maybe that was my carried some of that a little bit of that I guess Zelda expectation, like you're going to start slowly unlocking things and then everything's going to start to click, but they kind of all opened at once, so I was like a little bit overwhelmed, but I kept playing on the stream, and I just got to a point where you like climb this like one of the tall like
The tall necks.
yeah, tall necks,
I
and you
love
get on
those.
top of it, yeah, and then
Ah,
look around and
Mhm.
stuff.
it's
But
so cool.
yeah, I'm really liking the enemies. That they're varied, and they introduce characters like that you're like, oh my god, this thing's massive, and then started like taming some of the other ones so you could ride them, and
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, a little bit faster travel around the map, but like I keep getting sucked into these side quests, and that's what I hate about RPG games, I guess, is I feel like
You're never
like
gonna beat it.
yeah, like the completionist in me comes out, and I'm like, I gotta
Yep.
finish this one before I go on. But I started chipping away at the story, where you like help a few people in the find the war party, and then you're in this like um like trench kind of thing, this gorge, and you could blow up the barrels around some of the enemies and like sneak attack them and stuff. And I finally leveled up to do some of the dropping attacks. But yeah, I'm really liking it. The combat's finally starting to piece itself together. I can run and go craft fire arrows and turn around, put down a shock trap, and then put down my own shock traps, and then go find cover and gather some health and stuff. But outside of that, I am playing Apex Legends, and the new dude,
I don't
come
believe
on,
that. I
the
don't
the
believe that.
the 12th season just unrolled today, just rolled out,
Oh, really?
and like they just like did a bunch of buffs. They introduced new weapons on the map, and like it's not like other battle royales where like there's always like these types of weapons. They'll take them, nerf them, buff them, put them back on the map, or they'll be in like supply drops. And they introduced a new legend that came out today, Mad Maggie, and she has some like dope abilities. And the thing that I'm like most I guess happy about is that like once they introduce a new legend, you can see how that legend can like counter everybody else's abilities in the game. So even if you have like what you think is like a solid squad, there's always going to be somebody else that could um, position themselves and position the strategy as soon as you make the jump to get on the ground and grab loot. And so I played a little bit today, but I just cannot stop playing it, and I'm keep getting better and improving, especially my sniping skills. I had some good games over the weekend.
Awesome.
Who's your go-to character if you're just to like jump in for 3 or 4 matches? Or do you kind of like
Or
to
like
jump
20.
back and forth?
So initially I was maining Octane, but now I play Horizon, Revenant, and Caustic are my main three that I usually choose, and especially because if somebody else picks your character, then you have to have another backup or somebody else that you can feel, I guess, confident and strong within a match, because a lot of times you're put into panic mode. Like seriously, like you just like, oh shit, like what do I do here? And you have to be able to have that muscle memory, built up to be able to go to those abilities, switch out weapons, use their passive ability if needed. And so like now I have at least 3 solid ones. I could probably play as any other legend as do okay.
Awesome. And then lastly, we have Brett. What have you been up to playing lately?
I have finished Uncharted 4, the remaster. The night before Dying Light 2 came out.
Your memories?
Yeah, man, it did. I'm still not sure that like a $10 upgrade was something that had to be done. Like
it didn't have
don't
to
get me
be
wrong.
done. No.
I love Uncharted. It will probably go down as like, if not my favorite, top 3 favorite series of all time. I have the best memories. Like we've talked about this before. There was a few years where I kind of got out of gaming and like other things took over precedence in my life. And I just kind of put gaming to the side. And Uncharted 2 is the game that got me back into video games, like really hardcore. And I've been like back ever since that game. I didn't play for a few years. And I still remember playing that game. There was a demo at Best Buy. I'm like, there's no way games have just gotten this good from the last time I played it. Like it was, so I just have such good memories of these games. And then, I still can't tell, like, of course you can tell like the 60 frames per second difference. Obviously that's a big change. But as far as like anything else, I'm not sure there's that much of a difference, but I still really enjoyed it. It was good. It was nice to go back and experience it again. So now the only thing I need to do left is play Lost Legacy. I had my Vita stolen, so I can't play Golden Abyss, or else I'll probably play that as well.
Tragic.
So
rest in peace.
I know. So, but I finished that the night before Dying Light 2 came out. So it was like perfect timing. I finished that, and then Dying Light 2 came out, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm the only one on the show that's playing Dying Light 2. Like the biggest AAA game that's coming out all
soon
year.
to Nintendo Switch.
That's true.
Isn't it? What's crazy about this game is it's officially in the top 25 all time for Steam for concurrent players all time. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, higher than Halo.
Dying Light 2 is in the top 25 all-time concurrent players. Like that blows my mind. Either things were really slow or people were really excited. I can't tell which it was.
I think it's a mix of perfect timing and hype for the game.
Yeah, hit that Animal Crossing
and lack of options. I think it's like a mix of all of those things. Yeah,
that's kind of what I mean. Like it was just really slow. There wasn't, other than Pokemon, there wasn't really anything major that's brand new that had come out.
And
I was looking at like the top 10 players too, or like current player and player count, and like, I mean, there was like Valorant, I think not Valorant, CS:GO, Apex was in there, and then but it was just like games that had been out for a long time. And I was like, I think Halo Infinite was in there.
Yeah, and it's been good, man. I'll say I've had like such a roller coaster with Dying Light 2 because I enjoyed the first one so much. It was always kind of one of those games that I felt like was a pipe dream to have a sequel that I didn't really think was ever going to be one. And then they announced it and I was like, oh my God, it's coming. And then you guys know like how it got dragged on and on and on and on, and then delays. And at one point there was a rumor they had canceled it. And then it finally, reviews came out and there's like Game Informer gave it a 9.5. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And then GameSpot or someone gave it like a 6, and I'm like, oh my God, it's not going to be amazing. Like it's all over the place, and I keep hearing like really highs and really kind of lows about it, and you just got to play it. I mean, it's reviews you can only trust so much until you get your hands on the game, and I've really been enjoying it. I have. It's been good.
I had such a big amount of FOMO built up, but also my backlog is like, you do not need another game.
Right.
Do not buy one.
Yeah. That's all that's keeping me from trying Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true.
9
see,
Yakuza games.
that's been my issue with Dying Light 2 as well, because I'm like, okay, so I know the main story is only like 25 to 30 hours, but just like you said, Greg, like there's going to be side stuff that's going to pull me off the beaten path. So I'm probably going to put like legitimately 40 hours into this game, most likely. So what I'm thinking is like, I got this here now, but in 10 days, Horizon's out. I'm probably not going to knock out 40 hours worth of a game before Horizon's out. So then I'm going to have to put this on the side. And then by the time I beat Horizon, which isn't going to be a short game, like I'll come back and I'll like have forgotten stuff. And so I kind of feel like I'm doing Dying Light 2 as a disservice, because it's going to be on the back burner and then I'm going to come back to it. So
what they say was the total hours to beat Horizon, the new one.
I don't think
like 100.
Beat Horizon? I don't think we know yet.
Ooh, I don't think we know that one yet.
I thought it was up there or something like that.
But Dying Light 2, they claim that one to be 500 hours.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like everything. And I can, now that I'm playing it, I can see why. Like you take out your binoculars and do like the Breath of the Wild thing where you like look over the landscape and it's like things pop up. And I'm like, dear God, dude, like there's no way. Like I'll do the main stuff.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. There's been some really cool things about it, though. I just wanted to say this, and then I'll let you tell us what you've been playing, Brett. It kind of has a little bit of the Outer Worlds effect to it, and I'm being cautious because I don't want to say any say any story bits, and I'm not going to. But you remember in Outer Worlds how you could basically kill any character? And
yes,
like the story had to, so the story had to kind of adjust from there. It has that a little bit. Like there has been moments where you'll meet a character, and again, I'm not gonna say details, but the character will basically say, "I need your help. Will you do this for me?" Or you can decline that person, which obviously, that's nothing new, being able to have like branching paths on what you can do or not do. But basically, if you choose to not help this person, like you might have to fight him to the death. If you basically turn him down, either you can help that person and you can continue doing missions with him, or you can basically say fuck you, and he's going to be like, all right, well then that's it for us, and you basically have to fight each other. So I thought that was awesome. Like you have the ability to continue doing missions with someone and continue that story, or you can basically tell him F you and
murderize
that's
him.
it. Yeah, it ends right there. Like the story of that character and you end. So it has me curious on like if I was to take that person up on said option, like how far you could go with that, like what kind of branch you could go off with that character. So it's got some pretty cool options, and I was surprised by that. It kind of had that Outer Worlds effect.
The biggest thing that like wants me to play it is
we got to move on soon,
campaign.
guys. We've been talking about Dying Light.
Co-op campaign. I want it.
Yeah, we have to talk about that big topic.
Yeah, so Dying Light 2.
So Dying Light 2 anyway is coming to Nintendo Switch in cloud form at some point in 2022. It's kind of funny. We talked about Dying Light 2, we talked about Apex Legends, we talked about The Outer Worlds, 3 games that no one remembers is on Nintendo Switch, which I think is hilarious.
That's a Switch.
So we got some comments down. I'm going to read a little bit. We got Lord Derpy. He has a bold prediction about the Direct that Metroid Prime 4 news or Prime Trilogy HD. I don't think that's that bold, if I'm being honest. I think that seems kind of likely. You know what I mean?
I think it's somewhat bold.
For Metroid Prime 4, I think it's pretty bold.
Did they say everything is going to be something that's coming out the first half of 2022?
Well, they said mostly.
Yeah,
okay.
They always have their little sting.
They always sprinkle in something. Yeah, something cool.
And then we got what else? He also said his dream thing would be the Zero Escape trilogy on Switch and the Wolf Among Us on Switch, which we will be getting to the Wolf Among Us 2 in a little bit as our second mini topic aside from the Direct. But yeah, I would like the Wolf Among Us on Switch just so more people can play it, because I love that game. And Zero Escape, I never played those games. Have you guys?
It's another game I had on Vita, and that was stolen.
And then it got stolen.
So
now they're probably playing Zero Escape right now as we speak on your
they
Vita.
very well could. They just might be.
And then Cecilia says, "Hello, guys," and Chrome Colossus. That name looks familiar. I feel like they're always here. How's it going? How's it going?
Chrome Colossus is me, actually.
Thanks a lot. Oh, is it? So never mind.
Yeah.
You could have just lied. You could have just pretended that it wasn't you, and we could have had an extra viewer.
Damn it, John.
This is how you know it's real, man. I'm telling the truth. I'm not phoning it in for these listeners, you know?
Yeah,
Giving
you're
them
right,
the real
right.
deal.
Now, anyone else, if you're down in the live chat, make sure you leave us your prediction. We'll be sure to read it on the show if we see it. But before that, what I'm playing, I beat a few games recently. First off, I played through my first Destiny 2 campaign, which I feel like a lot of people have the wrong idea about what exactly Destiny is. Like, I listened to an Xbox podcast called Podcast Unlocked. It's at IGN. And one of the hosts on there loves Halo. He loves Halo. And he's like, man, I just wish Bungie would get around to making like a traditional campaign again. So I was thinking that Destiny was basically just loot grinding the game. Like there's no traditional campaign. There's no story elements. But that's really not true. Like Destiny 2 has campaigns within the game. And the one I played through was Forsaken because it's leaving soon forever, which is also really weird.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, so I played through that, and I'm thinking, this is basically just a Halo campaign inside of Destiny. Like, I feel like I'm playing Halo. I played through half of it with 2 friends, and then I played through the second half all alone, which was extremely hard, but I actually was able to beat it. I just felt like I was playing
Halo.
Halo.
The game offline?
No, you have to be connected online, so that sucks. But but within that, it's not just this open world where you're just constantly like loot grinding. There's like a linear sections with all different types of environments and like different like enemies that come at you, and it just feels like a normal campaign. And I feel like a lot of people who aren't into live service games, and I'm one of them, they don't know that within Destiny might be that experience you're looking for when it comes to a first-person linear action experience. You know?
Sure.
So that's all I'll say about that.
I was gonna say, I always kind of, I was like you, like as far as Destiny goes, I always kind of just thought it was a game where people get together and do raids and stuff. Like,
I mean, it is that too. It's that as well.
Sure. I didn't realize that there was like these legitimate campaigns because I've never played it. So that's cool. That actually has me interested as well.
I played a little of the first and like tried to get into it. Like I wanted to like it, and I guess to a certain degree I did, but I mean, I think you know, the part that you are doing that I didn't do was play with friends. Like I only played it by myself.
You don't have any, so I mean,
this is true. You guys are like my only friends, if I can call you.
No,
that.
We're not playing with
No, but like some of my other like friends from that I've known for a long time, like don't play video games really all that much. And one of my other like very good friends is like turned off by them. Why do you need to go outside? Blah, 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 blah.
No, got it. Is he 65?
Yes.
Oh, then never mind.
He likes old man hats, flannel, drinking coffee, and going to record stores. So
and beer.
He listens to Fleetwood Mac in the evenings.
He does. Do you know my friend John? Because
he's actually a special guest, and here no, I'm just kidding.
Hello.
But yeah, so yeah, aside from Destiny, I played through. I did all the races, and this is random. Drive Club on PS4 because my son once again loves watching me play racing games before he goes to bed. He'll just fall asleep. So I've been playing them a lot for the past like 2 years, and I beat that. I did all the races. But instead of talking about that, I want to talk about Wipeout, the HD collection that got a remaster on PS4 because I started that after I beat Drive Club, and I can tell I'm gonna have a great time with this trilogy. Like it's the PS3 game, or both PS3 games and the PlayStation Vita game that got HD remasters on PS4. And first off, they're stunning. They look beautiful. There's tons of content, tons of different types of races. Like there's not just races. There's all different stuff. There's kind of like a rhythm section. There's like a dodging type race mode where you're mainly just focusing on not dying, and it's just awesome so far. Like I'm really loving it, and I'm probably gonna end up beating all 3 of the games, and I will count all 3 of them as different games on GG, Brett, just so you know.
All right, hey, I'm okay with that.
And then I guess we'll just, I mean, now it's
as long as you're okay with me counting Mass Effect 3 on GG.
No, not if you added it to last year. This guy played through all of Mass Effect, the entire trilogy, and then at the very end of Mass Effect 3, there's this spot where you're supposed to just walk up ahead and then watch the game end. He stopped and he shot a hologram, and he got literally like a 10-second ending, and he never played the rest.
Have you guys
no, so have you, ending.
have you guys beat Mass Effect 3, both of you guys?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so that hologram that's like giving you options, you can choose this or you can choose this, and they both have their own consequences.
He chose neither, and he
I was just trying to figure out which way I wanted to go, and I'm like, I'm going to shoot this hologram. I shoot it, and the kid says, "That's the decision you wanted to make," and he just walks off, and it turns to black. I was like, "Oh my god, no! What did I do? What did I just do?" And it ended. I got like a 1-minute cutscene, and supposedly the ending is like this great like emotional
it got
ending,
extended, and it's a lot better now.
You could have just reloaded.
I saw
like
the original
your save
ending,
point.
so
that's the problem. I reloaded the save point. It put me back like an hour. I'm like, this is bullshit,
Really?
man.
That's your fault for being a big dum-dum.
So yeah, that aside from thinking about that every day and being disappointed, I've been actually no. Let's just hop into the to the Nintendo Direct. Let's see.
E3.
I think we got so Kai Olais. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, but they want new Mario Kart tomorrow? Question mark. What do you guys think?
Ooh, maybe because there was that rumor recently, but I think we would have seen or heard more if it's first half of 2022. So probably not, unfortunately.
Oh no, I think that. Well, I wouldn't say it's impossible for it to show up, but there's absolutely no way it's coming out in the first half of this year.
Go ahead.
Oh, I honestly think that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be a great end of the generation for this first Switch, but I think Mario Kart is going to be a great beginning for the next Switch, and hopefully everything carries over, all our purchases, all our games, but hopefully the next Switch is a bit more powerful and can really showcase that with a new Mario Kart game. And obviously the new Mario Kart 9 will still run on the old Switch, but it can really look amazing on the new Switch. I'm assuming if they're going to make a new Switch, which at this point only God knows.
I think it'd be a nice tease.
Do you guys remember that one E3? I think it was 2016, where Bethesda is like, "Hey, Fallout 4 is coming out in like 3 months," and people were like, "What?" And like no one had any idea, and like it was this complete almost stealth drop. Like, so I guess never say never. Like anything can happen.
And then they turn around and shove Fallout 76 down everybody's throats.
Dude, if you look at Bethesda Softworks, like their game catalog, they have nothing but bangers, and then at the very end, Fallout 76. It's just ridiculous.
They could never redeem themselves from it.
I've heard
it's
that
gotten
that
much
game
better,
actually
though.
got after the expansions. I heard it's like quite playable now. Once they had the bold idea to add NPCs.
5 years later, it's playable.
I think if my prediction for Mario Kart at least is they're gonna at least tease it, something like you hear like a vroom, vroom, and then they have like maybe the banner or like the logo or something.
They'll pull a Metroid Prime 4, right? Where it's like just the logo. And then
my God.
See in 4 years.
They're like, oh yeah, by the way, we still gotta hire an art director for the game.
Freaking Metroid Prime.
We're not sure what Mario looks designer. Like yet. Yeah.
But yeah, so the rumored name has been Mario Kart Crossroads, which doesn't really have a nice ring to it. But
I don't believe that for a second. No.
Where's that?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Crossroads, we got the 10 and the cross, and then and then apparently the rumor is more Nintendo characters are going to come in, so that's like a crossover, Crossroads. So it would make sense.
We're at 10? Yeah. I thought we were at 9.
9, never mind.
Oh, so
never mind.
You're completely wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, Mario Kart Deluxe. You never know. Maybe they'll just skip 9.
Well, that'd be cool with the next Mario Kart. It'd be cool with the next Mario Kart if they did like what they did with Smash Brothers and brought in all these other characters from different IPs outside of like direct Nintendo IPs. And so there's like Cloud in Mario Kart or something.
Or Fox McCloud would actually be more cool to me. because he's actually Nintendo.
But you know what I mean? Like you know how like Smash Brothers just went nuts and they brought in characters from all different kinds of things.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I feel like
that'd
that's
be
the
kind of
next.
cool.
I feel like
wouldn't
that should
want
be
him
the
to milk
next
it that
step
long,
for
though.
Mario Kart would be to bring in all Nintendo characters and be able to create tracks around those IPs, like how they did with F-Zero. That's like one of my favorite tracks because it has like a totally different feel to it. It feels like F-Zero, but in Mario Kart. And the Zelda track. I would love to see more of that with all their properties. And I'm still really disappointed in my Crossroads thing where I got that wrong.
And
because there's no Mario Kart 9.
But I feel like that's such a smart way to not only market Mario Kart as a game, but like market all your other games by introducing tracks that are from their levels. And that's like, I think that would be the route to go. Because I mean, even like the Bowser levels and stuff like that, it still feels like some of the like Super Mario 3D World or Galaxy. It still has that kind of like openness to it.
Yeah.
The leaker Zippo that we go back to pretty often because he has a pretty strong track record. He says that he has heard that the next Mario Kart, they are looking to bring in like more Nintendo properties, and his claim is that at least ARMS, Pikmin, and Star Fox will be in this game one way or another.
They're really making ARMS a thing, guys.
Well,
Why?
I mean,
I don't know why.
are they really? Like, they still haven't even announced a sequel, so
I was gonna say, I thought it was kind of like a one and done.
Mario Kart.
I feel like the characters in ARMS are like stand out more than the actual game does as a fighter.
That could be. I never actually played it.
I reviewed it for our site, and I remember it was strange because I gave it a 7.5, and I thought that was being very generous, and now I do, and I actually think it doesn't really deserve that nowadays. But and I remember actually getting like comments on the video and a few DMs on Twitter about how wrong I was for giving the game a 7.5, and I'm like, what? Like,
it's moron.
There's 2 attacks. There's literally 2 attacks in the game,
and you gave it a 7.5.
Because the only reason why I gave it a 7.5, and like I said, I was being generous, was because my friend came over, Andrew, and we played multiplayer and we played online, and it was a lot of fun. But that didn't last super long before it was like, okay, we've seen all this. But so that like co-op element, and I was trying to think like from a kid's perspective, this is something simple,
right?
It's like simple fun.
Yeah. And I always take that like into consideration. Like if I'm reviewing a game, like I'm reviewing it, you know, within the genre. Like,
hang on, shout out to Demi Crow, gave us a $2 super chat. They say, I think we're gonna get something from Atlas. I really hope we see those Persona ports. Bring them on, please.
Awesome.
Not Greg, what were you saying?
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I was saying we gotta split that 4 ways. 5. Eric.
I just took a drink of water. Come on.
You know, like you, I've always had that mentality of like, you know, okay, this is a party game. I'm reviewing it within the genre of a party game. Like, what audiences does it reach? Is it intended, you know, to reach more than just like a family centric audience? Can it be playable with a group of friends as well as, you know, if you have your kids around or something like that? But I don't know. They're just, to me, ARMS just seemed like it didn't really fulfill any of those. You know, it was just kind of slim and boring.
Very plain. It was really gorgeous though. Like, to be honest, like the graphics are stunning.
It's pretty for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there's only 2 attacks. Like how that's all I can say. Like there's 2 attacks.
Like I can't imagine like, oh man, I can't wait to get home and play ARMS.
So even after like upgrades and DLC and years of it being out, they still never like changed the basic attacks of the game.
No, it's still the same. Like
it's still the same.
Just, wow. I mean, you can punch or you can grab. That's it.
That's crazy.
And they want you to play with like the controller and do all this, but it's not very good. Just like how it's really never been perfect.
Sounds like me in the bedroom.
So segueing then, our our official prediction then is that we will not see ARMS 2 tomorrow.
Dude, now that we're bringing it up, I mean, now that we're bringing it up, there's rumors that they'll be in Smash. I wouldn't be that surprised if we saw ARMS 2 tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Well,
It's sold
Oh my
well.
God.
there's
Can
the
you
rumor that we're
imagine?
gonna see a 1-2 Switch sequel, which is really a game that nobody wants.
Yeah.
You know what? I will.
that's
One
such
two
a
switch is
given.
one
There
two
was
switch
one
is
person
actually
in our
fun.
Facebook comments section that was like quite happy about this. So Nintendo's
He's
making
like,
it for
hell
that guy.
yeah! 1-2 switch.
Yeah.
3-4 switch. Yeah.
Dude, like before I had my
So, you know,
Switch,
good for that guy. Good for him.
before I had my Switch, I remember listening to like an IGN podcast, and they were talking 1-2 Switch up like it was this really fun experience. I was like, I can't wait to get my Switch so I can play that game. And then I got it, and I was like, no,
It was fun. Did you guys eat the sandwich?
I
Did you
never.
guys-
That visual.
It used the little infrared camera, and you had to like bite like you were eating a sandwich, and like I don't know, like little stupid games like that were fun.
It had some cool ideas.
I'll be
kinda
honest, I've
gimmicky.
never
Was
played
it
it.
$50 fun? Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't play it either. Was
Yeah.
it
did
$50
look
Not
like
fun?
$50.
$50.
I thought it was like $39 when it came out, wasn't it? No.
50.
I think it's $50 right now.
Still.
Well,
Jesus.
I ended up
It's
I ended up
price.
paying
You're like, whoa,
$50
$40
to
is
eat
just
a
a little
fake
too
sandwich.
little here.
I just picture like the Nintendo higher ups all sitting around a table. Guys, 1-2 Switch has been out for about 5 years. Can we afford to just make it $40? No. $50. It's worth it. The higher the
We're
price,
actually-
the more likely they are to buy it.
We're actually
Yes.
going to increase it.
Yeah. There you go.
Steve said, "Could the sequel to Arms be legs?" Please,
That'd be
God, no.
Man.
Thighs.
Just legs.
They're
Just
just laying
like
on
this
their
whole
back,
time.
kicking their legs at each other. God.
That's Nintendo innovation in action right there, baby. Good
Arms.
talk to you.
Oh no, the sequel, Arms and Legs. There we go.
yeah.
You know what?
Dang.
You know what? Actually,
Right
I would think
self.
I think would be a great introduction to the if they did introduce a sequel to a game, would be to Ring Fit Adventure. If they did a sequel to that, I think they would have better luck selling that and moving product if
Dude,
there was
yeah, the
something
first
like Ring
one
Fit Adventure 2.
Exceeded expectations. The first one did.
Yeah,
I still see
it was a
people
real
playing it.
phenomenon, especially at the start of COVID. Like
Dude,
there
I-
were those stories
Yeah.
about
Again,
China
yeah,
having
that's
like
true.
these like giant crates and like they just disappear.
Yeah,
What the hell?
I got it at launch. I brought it home, did a full workout. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. And then I took it back like an hour later. I returned it. I was like, man, that was like $60. So I might as well just give it back. Actually, I think it was more than that because of the ring.
Yeah,
thing or
because of the
whatever.
peripheral.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was like
I forget
79.
70
yeah, it
or
came with
80.
that.
I think it was 79.
Yeah, so
That
that's
sounds right to me. I'm not sure.
that was my
yeah.
full experience with that game, and I actually thought it was cool, but it's like I know I'm not gonna do this. Like I immediately was like, I'm never gonna do that again. So
You know
I
what?
just
You know what's
returned it.
crazy? If PlayStation had a game like Arms and they sold it for $50, people would shred them to pieces.
Oh
But
yeah.
Nintendo does it, and they're like, "Oh, Nintendo, you're so
Yeah.
silly."
Dude, have you
Yeah, right. That's
seen
like
Pokemon?
70% of
100%,
PlayStation's
yes.
library or games like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg, come on, man.
Dude, have you seen Pokemon? Could you imagine if Sony or Microsoft released a first
Oh
party
my
game
God.
that looked
With
like
those
Pokemon?
graphics.
Yeah,
They would
like,
literally, Kotaku would do an article just about that, about how they're taking advantage of consumers or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Jeez.
but
I like Eli's posts on Twitter that I see every now and then are like
Oh,
Switch
yeah.
game or
GameCube
GameCube game. Yeah. It's just Arceus pictures.
dude, it's that game is so weird because there are times where I'm like, this looks so bad. Who approved this? But then there are other times where like I'm walking, the sun's shining in like a good spot. It's like, okay, this can look pretty good sometimes. But a lot of times it's pretty bad.
I just
You
Yeah,
can't tell me
it,
that
man.
Nintendo does not hear that criticism at some.
Yeah,
to some
and
Oh,
that
degree.
yeah,
franchise makes so much money.
Dude,
Yeah.
the
Spend a
most
little bit more
money.
and make it pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane how
It's
much
just that
money that the franchise makes.
8-year-old kids don't really care about the graphics though, and so
Yeah,
Nintendo.
Holy
the
crap,
problem
we
is
got
they have
Guys, we got a super chat from Brett. Ah, man, Brett, I'm gonna butcher your last name. Sonin
I think it's
Sheen.
Sonishin.
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 It's a
Triple
cool
Brett
one anyway.
sending positive vibes to you guys. Can't wait to talk gaming with you both. Also, beat you in Mario Kart. Halo. Wait, Halo Brett, by the way.
Oh yeah, you're a stud, Brett. He
Dude, yeah.
also sent me He also sent me a personal message on Facebook and said he's laughing so hard about my decision on Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect. Shot a holographic
your poor decision.
That's going to be the highlight of the show, is everyone laughing at my dumbass shooting a hologram and ruining the entire trilogy experience.
Never going back. Like that's the worst part. You never went back.
Well, how many times in a game? Ending. But how many times in a game do you like think, I'm just going to shoot this character just because, you know, nothing's going to happen, and you do it and you're like, oh, thank God nothing happened. Like, what are the chances that would actually give me a different ending?
God, what's even worse is that was a developer decision to leave that in there. It's like a punishable offense.
Dude, I went to the comments, guys. I went to the ending he got because I was like, what possible ending could you have gotten? And I looked. It was literally 20 seconds, first off. And I saw the comments, and a bunch of people are like, yo, I accidentally got this ending. I don't even know, like, what to do anymore. Like, and I told Brett, there's one comment that said, guys, I shot him, but then I immediately reloaded my last checkpoint, and it took me right before I shot him. So Brett could have done that, but no, he watched the whole cutscene end, and then he ruined it for him.
That's making this even worse.
Man, I love that. So this is like a trilogy of games that can last from like 60 to like 100 hours, and the epic conclusion is you shot a child and everything ended.
So I got like a troll ending. It was basically a troll ending, and I told Brett, I'm like, I just have to accept that that's the ending of Mass Effect for me. I can't do anything about it.
Hang on. This also comes off him playing Mass Effect 2 and literally killing everyone on his team. Everyone died. The whole cast of characters that you love, that you fall in love with, they all died in the suicide mission. And so he goes into Mass Effect 3 having a totally different experience than anyone else. And then he has that ending.
Just because of spoilers, we won't say who or what, but Brett's like, oh, this person lived and this person lived, right? Because their story arc in Mass Effect 3 is amazing. I'm like, yeah, so they both died. Like, I don't know, what did I do? I don't know what I did in Mass Effect 2, but I had like some major characters die in like a really
all of them, like literally
emotional way too. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening right now?
But yeah, I also want to shout out again, Brett, one more time for giving us 20. That's awesome. And Brett also just recently gave us a $2 super chat that says, "This is for Brett. Sad short ending of Mass Effect." After a whole trilogy, dude. Okay, but back to as much as I would love to keep harping on Brett for destroying his whole experience of that, made the best trilogy in all of gaming.
He gives me shit about it at least once a day, so you know.
Let's go ahead and hop into some of our predictions for the Direct tomorrow. I'm really excited, guys. It's been a long time since we got a long Direct or anything really significant. And Brett just keeps on giving these super chats. So now he says, "Go Jazz," just for Brett.
Hey, there you go. There you go. A little sports reference for you guys that aren't into sports. I am a Utah Jazz fan.
I am not.
Once again, Brett, thanks for the super chat. John. Really means a lot that you just keep on the gift that keeps on giving you. But
yeah, Brett, you're a stud, bud.
Split it 5 ways.
All right.
So what I want to see,
spit out a prediction. Yes.
What I want to see during this showcase. First off, Bayonetta 3, we need a release date. Like, the game has been in the works forever. It got announced like 4 years ago or something like that.
It got announced at the Game Awards in 2017, December 2017.
God. Almost 5 years.
God, with COVID, that's like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, you were in middle school.
Would it be that crazy that this could come out the first half of this year? Like, I don't think it would be. You guys?
No, I don't think it would be crazy. I could definitely see it coming out first half of this year. Yeah,
I could see that being spring. Like their big banger that they like end the show with like the one more thing or something, and they announce that it's coming out in 2 or 3 months or something.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I hope 2 or 3 months.
I think Nintendo has so many like heavy hitting franchises that I don't think Bayonetta 3 will be high prestige enough to be the one more thing. Actually,
yeah, you're right.
I just don't know what else. I just don't know what else would be coming out in the first half of this year, though. I think that's why I said that would be their banger. Because what else is close enough to come out?
There's a handful of things we got in the works.
Keep in mind that even though it ended up having like a lukewarm reception, like a lot of them, the last Paper Mario game. That game got announced and it came out like 2-3 months later.
True, yeah.
And Like,
super
and
quick.
granted, that was a game that had leaked like a long time in advance, like at least like I don't know, half a year. But like, still, they announced it and like, boom, there it was. So like, it's within the realm of possibility. And also, speaking of rumors of things that might release in the first half of this year, there was a report last year that Nintendo was actually targeting the first half, I think the first half of 2022 for Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
So
That's what I want to see.
Brett would love that.
yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
when
there was
that.
a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say someone made a prediction in the comments. I missed it earlier. I read it in my head, but forgot to say it out.
Oh yeah.
Someone wanted someone else. Their prediction was that, or not their prediction, but what they wanted to see was Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and yeah, that's up there for me too. I fell in
think
love
it's
with that
pretty
series the
likely.
past few years. Yeah, well, there's also a rumor that Monolith is working on a new IP, so that's kind of scary. So it might not be Xenoblade.
That's just crazy to
Well,
me that Nintendo has so many
Ooh,
rods
yeah.
in the water right now.
yeah.
Like
Well,
they could pick and choose any one of these and hit it out of the park.
The game we're
right.
seeing right
And
now, Xenoblade Chronicles X, is a game I would love to see ported.
that game
That's
rules.
that's like the best looking Wii U game. I would
What
love
was
to see.
that? Oh,
it
that
on
I was gonna
Switch.
say
Yeah.
that's Wii U.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I
You
mean,
just answered my
actually, it's
question.
like the story is actually non-existent and it's like kind of forgettable garbage. But the visuals,
Tell me how you really feel.
the visuals are awesome, and like I Brett Medlock and I think are kind of one mind where we're like, we don't love open worlds for the sake of open worlds. Like, there's got to be something to do in it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in this game, like, it's not so much that it's like densely packed with stuff to do, but the world itself is like, the scale is incredible. Like, it's not just like really, really, really big. It's like huge, huge, huge.
It's
And the game's
because you get mechs.
exactly. And the game's been designed for both. So you can explore the world on foot. And then when you get giant robots, it feels like a totally different thing. And then late in the game, you can fly. And then it's
Yeah.
a completely different thing for like a third time. And
Dude,
like, Switch
you-
really needs that.
I feel like it was probably incredibly hard to make a fully realized, detailed world for a small little guy to walk through, and then also have it look good when you're like 20 times the size as a giant mech, and it
Right.
still looked good. Like,
Yeah.
I really wish this game would get ported. I think it deserves it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But if we're quote unquote stuck with only getting Xenoblade 3, well, that'll be cool too.
Yeah,
The reports
sure.
say
Those
that it's
games-
going to actually like bring in story elements from the first two. Like, it intends to wrap things up somehow, which
like a little crossover maybe.
well, like you kind of have to like pay attention, but the first two games actually are related in like these weird ways. I can't really talk about it without spoilers, but like they're vaguely related already. So a third game could tap into those. But like I've heard it described as kind of like the end of a trilogy, which is like sort of a weird way of phrasing it, because each of those two games feel like, like finite things, and when they're done, like there's not really a big question of like, well, what happened after that? It's like it ended. you
Yeah.
know? so I'm
shot the
curious to see what a
hologram, it was
third one will
done.
do.
I
So
still
I
haven't-
was
I still haven't played the extra story in the HD remaster of the first game, so I've been meaning to get back to that.
Future Connected.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it connects with that somehow, but I haven't played it, so I don't know.
It's pretty simple. Like it's okay for what it is. Like
Okay.
I don't know. I like it's all right. My
Yeah.
official review. It's all right.
It's all right.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 would be a big one for me. I'm probably gonna record myself because I'm hoping to get like a genuine excitement, like reaction from it. But that one would make me get like super happy because
Your pants.
I fell in love with the series like the past few years, like I said. So anything from the franchise now, I'm fully on board. I liked those games way more than I was expecting, and honestly, they're gorgeous games for running on Switch. Like they look great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the
Monolith-
voice acting is a
Monolith
little
knows what it's
rough,
doing.
but oh what?
No, I was just saying, like everything Monolith does looks pretty solid, like visually.
yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I would love if maybe their next game was like a launch title for the more powerful Switch, if that ever happens. Just
Well-
because I want to see them take advantage of better hardware.
I meant to say that like Monolith is like Well, I think they finally kind of stopped growing, but for a long time, like every time they did an employee update, like it's just like balloon, balloon, balloon. Like Monolith is growing. They have like I think a few different studios now, and they're working on like not necessarily leading development, but they're like at least supporting several different projects. Like they're working on Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like there's been like several cases where a big new Nintendo game will come out and then you find out after the fact that Monolith supported its development. So like
That's what I
it's like
find so interesting.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's like a major component of like Nintendo's like everything. Like Monolith is like a major partner.
I think
No, I was just gonna
them
say
and
there's, like-
Namco Band. Oh, sorry, Greg.
It's you know what? I have nothing to say. It's fine.
No, what are you gonna
fine.
say?
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Come on.
No, what I was gonna say is like just hearing you guys talk about it. I mean, it feels like there's so many games that could not only prop up, and extend the life of the Switch right now, but could very much so carry it into the next generation. Whether that's Xenoblade, Mario Kart, a new Zelda. It just seems like there's more and more games that have like this cross generation ability, and even Bayonetta, I think to a certain degree could potentially secure whatever additional Switch sales they're looking for right now, but also extend the life and then prop up the launch of a new system.
Yeah, like when the new system comes out, it's like these games you already bought are like they're more enhanced on the brand new Switch Pro or whatever they call it.
But they're also $60.
Yeah, well, if your purchases transfer over, I mean that's the hope and the dream.
Although, I mean, to be clear, like the Nintendo president's still saying that Switch itself is in the middle of its lifespan. So like,
yeah, that's
as
what
far
got
as
me.
as far as like actual like Switch 2, like in the sense of like a PlayStation 5 sort of deal, like I think that's still like years away. Like
Well, I mean,
don't know,
but maybe
at least at the earliest 2024. For
maybe
like
he was talking about like what if the next console is more powerful, but it's still a Switch. It's still part of the Switch family.
Well, I mean, I think that's gonna
like
happen
a Switch
regardless,
Pro.
but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think what he said precludes the possibility of a Switch Pro.
Yeah, I mean,
I think a Switch Pro is smart because then like you're not taking games away from all these Switch owners, and if you do want to have a better looking version of this game, you can get the Pro. I mean, that's like the PS4 Pro and then the Xbox One X did for their last few years. That was like, I didn't even get my PS4 Pro until like the last year, and like so I still played almost every PS4 game on a base PS4, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything other than like a little bit better graphics. And then I finally ended up giving it and getting one. So PS4 Pro would make sense. I think we're all assuming it's going to be called
Switch Pro?
Switch Pro. Sorry. I think we're all assuming it's going to be called a Switch Pro, but we all know Nintendo has the most like weird freaking names, like a Wii and a Switch.
It's gonna be a Switch
There's no way.
It'll probably be like
it will not be called Switch Pro. If they
Super Switch would be the ideal, amazing
Super
name.
Switch would be dope.
That would be cool. Yeah. We could all live with Super Nintendo Switch, yeah.
But it's so interesting too, even like, the fixing the continuity that they had, the continuity problem that they had with the Wii U. I mean, they kind of fixed that by porting over all the games. So you didn't really lose out on much of not buying the Wii U. Now you have them on Switch, and now you have, these different models of the Switch, and like it just kind of blurs the line of where the generation starts and stops, because even if you introduce a Pro model, you're still going to have these games that play as well on the OLED, the Lite, the regular.
I think generations are over, to be honest. I don't think we'll have like defining generations anymore, because like I think all previous games should work on new hardware. If they don't, you are so behind with the times nowadays. It's insane. But yeah,
and even if they can't, I mean, introduce a cloud version.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Do something. But John, were you about to say something right now?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, aside from the Switch Pro stuff, are there any games you guys want to see that like might be kind of pie in the sky, but you're thinking we could see this, and I really want to see this? Greg, you go first. Who's not paying attention?
Oh, you son of a gun! Wait, what'd you say?
Come on.
What's your pie in the sky game you'd like to see, whether it's realistic or not?
pie in the sky game would be give me a title for Breath of the Wild 2 that's not Breath of the Wild 2, or that it's like Breath of the Wild 2 Ganondorf's back. Or
Enter
something.
the Valhalla.
Yeah. Or something like that.
Ganondorf's in the b-boy stance.
Yeah. But also, you know, I would love to see something Mario Kart, but honestly, someone mentioned it in the chat and I didn't really think about it. Like, I would like somebody to finally pull back the curtain on whatever this new Sonic game is, and if that's like, I don't know, maybe
Sonic
Nintendo's,
of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Nintendo might be saving that for like a third party showcase where, you know, they're just going to have, you know, another library full of games that they can announce. But I really do feel like, you know, I'm kind of ready to pick my Switch back up again, and I think, you know, the right time to do that would be something new and that would be Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want a name for the game. Like, I'm so
Yes.
tired of calling it Breath of the Wild 2. We know it's not going to be called that, and if it was, that would just be insane because that's never happened. That's like the closest thing to Zelda 2, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
What if that's the big twist? It's a remake of Zelda 2. It's nothing Breath of the Wild at all.
I would take my Switch outside and run it over with my car. Twice.
And then pee on it.
And then pee on it.
Well, I mean, I want to know the title just because, like, as I think we've previously discussed, like, one of the like Nintendo execs like kind of imply that like maybe the name itself is actually like a little bit of a spoiler for like the gameplay and stuff, and like
yeah, but you got to tell us sooner or later. Like, what?
Yeah, theoretically
is never gonna tell us the name.
Yeah. On launch day, they'll be like, by the way,
yeah,
Zelda Ganon's. Okay, what?
Yeah, it's back.
Ganon's back. I was just gonna say something way more not for this podcast.
What do you think? Don't you think it would be something like that would kind of give away, like, you know?
I'm hoping it is, right? Like, I mean, like obviously Nintendo, like, when it comes to Zelda, they're not gonna half-ass a new Zelda. And I just feel like based on the fact that they haven't given us the name yet and they're so worried about spoiling something, like, I just feel like there has to be like some major mechanic to this game that we have not seen like at all yet. Like,
Breath of the Wild,
genuinely...
Link loses his virginity.
All right, I don't think that's it.
But it could be.
Could be.
Surprise,
never
guys.
say never.
The story you know and love.
Like, I believe in my heart.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I believe in my heart that all of these trailers have been misdirection, and there's like some awesome thing that we just don't know about.
Yeah, there's got to be some twist or something they're holding back on for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
with
especially
that.
because the thing that gets me the most is like they've shown mechanics that were there in the first game, and that can't be the big selling point, you know, to use all the abilities. And
well, there's a different one too, like the rewind time stuff, the go through wall stuff.
Sure.
Like there on the camera.
Yeah.
And that stuff's cool for sure, but there's got to be something else that like differentiates this game from the first one. I mean, there just has to be, and there's going to be, obviously.
I bet it has to do with time. That's
I bet it has to do with
something
flying
bigger.
on a giant bird.
Just like giant bird.
Just like Skyward Sword. I think that's why they decided to release it, because they're like, we got to get people used to flying on birds. So that's going to be the big secret.
maybe it is like, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe it is like a time hop game or time heist, or like I don't know, like Breath of the Wild 2 time erased or something that you're like, oh, that's the main mechanic, and you know, I'm going to be, you know, jumping around on time.
Dude, I'll be honest. Brett was saying yesterday how he has sort of like a mini obsession with suicide in video games, which sounds very dark. But my obsession is time, and that's why I always loved Ocarina of Time, because like the jump forward always like was amazing to me as a kid to see like what the world turned into. And I would love if this game, if you're constantly jumping back and forth and you have to go back and forth from, or maybe multiple time zones where it's the same environment, but you see the differences like based on what time zone you're in. So I think that'd be cool.
So
Not
Chrono
time
Trigger.
zone, but
You're talking
well,
about you want Chrono Trigger.
yeah, with Chrono Trigger.
Well, even like Link to the Past, was like my first experience where I really fell in love with Zelda, like genuinely fell in love with it. But I was also, like, and I even just started replaying it a little bit not too long ago, and you forget little things about it, and how you use the mirror and like just like I don't know, like all that stuff gets teed up, and you kind of have inklings of it as you start playing the game. But I feel like they've done a good job of kind of exploring all the ways in which you can take Link, especially like a Link Between Worlds was another one that you have these like, it wasn't like world bending, but you could, transform and go through walls and complete puzzles by doing so. So I think it's time they kind of revisited that aspect and put, I feel like they need to put the player, more in control of outcomes. I think that would be the big kicker.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a concept art that showed like a futuristic Link, and I think he even had like a bike, like a dirt, like not like a dirt bike, but like a bike. But it was like an official concept, and they said that they were thinking about maybe doing something like in the future. I would love that if that was like the big secret of this game, is that like the
a beach
time
cruiser,
jump, like the time jump is it's like neon lights, you have your motorcycle with Link, and like just something totally out there for a Zelda, and there are like elements where you're playing in the far future and then like the normal time as well. Yeah, because you can tell they want to do something with that. They put a dirt bike in Breath of the Wild, like they want to do something with like futuristic stuff, that they've never been able to do before.
I think that's something they wanted to toy with in like the original game, because like Link was called Link because I think there was going to be like a two worlds element, and I think they wanted like a futuristic other world in the original Zelda, and it was like, well, we don't have time or space for that, so one world.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So to your point, Brett, like in the previews, it shows like the world looking really pretty at times, and then it shows it looking all corrupted at times. So I wonder if there is like, you do go back and forth between like the corrupted world and trying to save, Princess Zelda, or like, and then half the time you're in the normal world where you're trying to figure out how to get back to the corrupted world, or you know what I mean? Like it could very well jump between the two different worlds.
Dude, what if Breath of the Wild was like the like starting point of all this, and like that's really genuinely where we got a taste of what's to come, and maybe it sets up a trilogy, because I could also see that happening, and that's something that we really haven't.
A 15-year spanned trilogy.
No, I meant the Breath of the Wild trilogy. You clown.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, because it always takes them 5+ years to put out a Zelda game.
Yeah. And even then, Nintendo is just kind of like making up continuity as it goes, because they really don't care.
True.
They're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Hey, have they said anything about this being a trilogy?
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't know anything really about the story, but
gotcha.
Yeah, like their continuity is all over the place. They put out an official book that had like even just stuff that didn't make sense, and
just like
a lot of the fans try to pretend like stuff.
There are 3 parallel timelines in Zelda.
Yeah, and one of them you're literally supposed to play Ocarina of Time and die at the end. And not played. And then that's one of the timelines. Ganon wins.
That's optimistic.
And then I remember being a kid being what Brett?
I was going to say, it sounds like about the same continuity that Resident Evil has with Chris Redfield.
Yes.
Like just all over the place.
Definitely.
And he always just appears and saves the day.
Yeah.
And his arms fluctuate in size depending on if he needs
he's
to
like
punch a boulder.
He's like a bodybuilder in one.
Don't even get me started, dude. Capcom, I could rant about Capcom not giving a crap about continuity, about their characters, about story,
voice
about
acting.
Anything.
Nothing.
They're doing movies that have Chris Redfield where he looks like sort of like RE5 Chris Redfield, but with a brand new voice actor. And then they have Resident Evil 7 comes out. Chris Redfield's at the very end of it, looks nothing like Chris Redfield, has a different voice actor, not the one from the movie. And then they come. And then in Resident Evil 8, they bring back the RE5 character model, and they change the voice actor for a third time in that game. and they just don't care about any of it. It just really bothers
I
me.
don't care about any of the Resident Evil movies except for the CG. The CGI is like
That's the ones I was talking about. The ones that are actually in the same like world as the games. Like the
like
continuity
even
with the movies doesn't make
the
sense.
recent one that came out, the actual like live action one was awful.
It was so bad that it was entertaining though.
I couldn't even
me-
stomach
okay.
it. I turned it off.
Really?
I was so disappointed.
I
What
hope I
killed
can
me
enjoy it in
way
a so
better.
bad it's good way.
Yeah, like a Sharknado way.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
if
if you want Resident Evil to be a Sharknado bad good,
No,
Dude.
no, absolutely not.
come on.
No,
I really
absolutely not.
cannot believe. Okay, so of Leon Kennedy is one of my favorite video game characters because like RE4 is one of my favorite games, so it just sort of comes with it. The guy
Smash
that
or
played
pass?
Leon, I swear he has never played a Resident Evil game. He doesn't know what he was doing as that character. And it just makes no sense. The first thing he says is, I bet you're wondering how a guy like me ended up in a place like this. And it's like, why would we be wondering that? You're in a police station wearing a police uniform. What? Why would we be wondering that? That doesn't even make sense.
Guess you're wondering how I got this gun. You might be wondering how I got this badge.
The state
That
of
sounds
the
like
world
the opening
makes
to
no
like a
sense.
cheesy 80s movie or something. Bet you're wondering how
It basically is. It's in a lot of stuff, but they sort of tweaked it a little
Right.
bit, but it still just did not fit the movie or the character at all. And it's just not Leon one bit.
You didn't.
The
answer
time
my
I
question,
knew
though.
they stopped caring is when the most iconic voice actor for Leon was the one in Resident Evil 4, of course. And didn't they do the remake of Resident Evil 2? And he wanted to reprise that role, and they actually turned him down.
So
The
no,
most
here's the
iconic voice actor, and they turned him down.
Here's what happened. So Resident Evil 4 comes out. Paul Mercier plays his voice. Then he I think he honestly went off the deep end. He seems kind of crazy. I talked to some people who run the Residents of Evil YouTube channel. They like set up an interview with him and everything, and he randomly just never showed up and never responded. And before that, he just wasn't like, he was just kind of weird, kind of cuckoo. But anyway, he was my favorite, which is unfortunate to know that he's kind of crazy now. But Matthew Mercer took over right after him and everything else, and he did Leon's voice. Like, he sounds so similar to Leon in Resident Evil 4 that I was like, all right, this is great. And he sounded like a bit older, the more like gruff. Wait, is that the right word? The more yeah. So it sounded like a more mature Leon, and I was like, this is great. And then when RE2 remake comes out, he wanted to be Leon in that game, and they turned him down because of the voice acting agency that he goes through. Capcom doesn't work with those people anymore. So that's really sucks because Leon was like my least favorite part of that game because it wasn't Leon. Like we got RE4, RE6, 2 CG movies, all with the first Resident Evil guy. Oh, and the Dark Side Chronicles. That was actually Paul Mercer, the one from actual Resident Evil 4. He did that first game. He did Umbrella Chronicles. Then Matthew Mercer did the Dark Side Chronicles, but still they sounded like
how
very
many
similar.
Mercers are there?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Brett knows his stuff when it comes to
Hey,
Resident
just
Evil.
use another Mercer. They won't
No,
know.
it's weird. It's weird because the first voice actor of Leon from Resident Evil 2
Don't
is
say.
Paul Adat or whatever his name is. Paul something. No, so his name's Paul. The second guy's name was Paul Mercier, and then the third guy's name was Matthew Mercer. So they all sound very similar.
Wow.
Maybe they got confused on who played what, and they're just like, does it matter anymore?
Yeah, like I think this guy did the part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it'd be like having Uncharted 4 come out and then Naughty Dog.
Tom Holland plays the main character.
Well,
Or something,
we're not
right?
going to have Nolan North be Nathan Drake. We're going to have just some random guy.
No, dude, it'd be like
Nolan
Uncharted
South.
4. It'd be like Uncharted 4 coming
Nolan
out and
South.
Nathan Drake being a character model that looks nothing like Nate, and then having a totally different voice actor. And if that happened, everyone would be like, what the heck are they doing? Like, how is this the same character? But for some reason, Capcom gets the pass. It doesn't make sense.
Do. No, you're right.
It would be like a Mario movie coming out and Chris Pratt is the voice. I mean,
it would be like that. Yeah.
I actually picked up Dark Side Chronicles recently. I used to own it. I don't know what happened to it, but finally got it.
I did too. The box is right over there. But
mine too. Go get it.
Oh, we're cool.
Well, Well,
But yeah,
to bring
so
this
that's my
back
rant
to
about
the
Capcom.
Nintendo Direct, there is there was there was like kind of like one rumor that really picked up steam, and then it like crashed into the ship of a different rumor, and then both rumors sunk, and now we don't know what's going on. I'm talking, of course, about new Resident Evil on Switch.
Yes.
So
Ooh, I
it
didn't hear
was
this.
well, I mean, like it's like the mashed potatoes of rumors now. Like it's like nothing's valid anymore. But like
Is it Revelations
See,
related?
John, I know I've been
Yeah.
talking a lot, but I sort of have this whole rumor on lock.
Okay.
Brett
Okay,
knows
no,
his Resident Evil stuff, dude.
The
I
Can I hear
know
original
John
rumor,
first? Can I
the
hear
original
John
rumor
first?
was Resident Evil Outrage was going to be a basically Resident Evil Revelations 3 for the Switch, maybe exclusive, maybe just marketing. But
well,
then
the
it was-
Outrage name came later though.
yeah, and then it was revealed more recently that Outrage was actually not a game like Revelations. It was another multiplayer game, like how they've been
Allegedly.
doing.
Oh,
Allegedly.
But another rumor is that there actually is still a Revelations 3 type game in the works for Switch, right, John? That's right,
But
isn't it?
yeah, but like we don't know the status. Like we don't know if it's actually still in development. And
Yeah,
also,
Wasn't the
apparently
name
the
also like an
multiplayer
R?
outbreak thing was canceled allegedly.
yeah,
Allegedly.
that was canceled
Yeah.
apparently. Which thank God they don't need to do
Thank
multiplayer
the
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Lord.
stop doing that.
Seriously.
They're not fun. None of them have been fun.
The co-op is
plays
fine.
them.
The Resident Evil 5 co-op perfectly fine, but don't do PvP with Resident Evil. They're never good.
Is that the one where it had like the cell shaded looking characters, and you're just like, what?
That's
is
another
this?
one. That's a different multiplayer game.
That's
That
a
Oh
different
my
multiplayer.
it's
That
still
was the
coming
one that.
apparently.
Oh, did it never come out?
It got
It was
delayed.
delayed indefinitely. Oh,
Was that the one where
jeez.
you play as like the tank and then like the other people run
Reverse.
around? Reverse.
Yeah, Reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the one. That's
I
the
played
Oh,
the
man.
multiplayer beta for that, but I was like, it was one of those things like, am I having fun? Is this fun?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I
It's
don't
not.
want this kind of pacing, this kind of gameplay for a Resident Evil game.
Rule of thumb for video games: if you have to ask yourself if you're having fun, you're not.
True.
Yeah.
That's how I feel
That's
with every
accurate.
Ubisoft game now.
Oh,
But I
come
would
on
love-
now. Easy.
I would
on the
love
Ubisoft.
Revelations. I would love Revelations though to be, turned back to being a Switch or a Nintendo type of like exclusive.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I would just love to see Nintendo get like, even if it's only temporary exclusivity, I would love to see it get like its own Resident Evil, like anything, as long
Yeah,
as it's
I
not
mean,
multiplayer.
The thing about that is it sort of gives the developer or publisher of the game the excuse of not having to put as much resources into making a gorgeous AAA game like how Resident Evil 2
Absolutely.
remake and RE8 look. If it comes to Switch first, then you have that excuse, and then later on it can get a little like a little up-res, a little FPS boost on PS4 and Xbox One or PS5 or
And-
whatever. And
that's
no
exactly
one
what they
cares.
did with Monster Hunter Rise with
That's
the
what I was gonna
PC
say.
port. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
true.
And
Yeah.
apparently
they
these
technic-
graphics like they like well I think they like uncapped it or something, and like that's about it. Like they
Yeah.
barely did anything to the graphics at all.
And no one really cares, like because
Yeah.
it came to Switch
Yeah.
first. So they just
Right.
do that with a Resident Evil. Give us a Resident Evil Revelations 3 type game, which is all I want because I love those games.
Yeah.
Did Revelations 2 come to other consoles first, or was that Nintendo?
Yeah, so the first one was like 3DS exclusive, and then the
I
second
loved
one
playing
didn't
it.
even come to 3DS, and
Yeah,
the
I
second one
that's
came
the
to
that was
Vita,
one of my
surprisingly.
favorite games. That's crazy. The original was like one of my favorite games on 3DS, like that and
Same.
Shin Megami Tensei 4. Those are my two favorite games on the 3DS.
Like
Are
some
they
of
that
those-
good?
The boat
Yeah,
the
scenes
yeah,
first one
Revelations
was,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
never played the
Revelations
second
3.
one because I thought it was
mean,
I heard it was
It was kind of but I'd still say it's worth a playthrough just to see what it's
Mm.
like.
Yeah.
But yeah, Revelations 1 it's my favorite 3DS game for sure.
like
I
so
need to
good.
play that.
like
I
it
need to
was
play it.
it felt like legitimate survival horror like the old games, but it also had action elements. Like it
Mhm.
really felt like a nice merger of like old and new RE.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of just Resident Evil 4 type style, except more of a Metroidvania in terms of the level structure with the ship and whatnot.
A little, yeah. And it
Yeah.
also
There-
had like it had a literally episodic structure. Like
Yeah.
it presented itself like a TV show, and it would just have these random
Yeah.
cutoffs and
It
be
would say
like,
previously
"Last
on
time,"
Resident
yeah,
Evil Revelations.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Or as it
Yeah,
said on the
I
on the
remember
on the
that.
box, Resident Evil Revelatons.
yeah, they
Remember that?
Did they
That's
really?
hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
they
a
messed
famous
up.
typo on the box on the
What did
side
it
of the
say?
box. Resident Evil Revelatons.
Yeah, they messed it all
Oh
up.
wow!
They
Hilarious.
typoed Revelations. Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
think I still
look
have
and see
that
if
box
How
over
does
there.
it?
Let me
How
see.
does
Yeah,
that
I
get
have it
past
right over
a
here.
team?
Yeah.
Like that has to get past a team of quality inspectors. Like people have
So
to check out the
myriad
boxes and
individuals.
everything.
Yes.
Nobody noticed that. That's
Nobody.
incredible.
It
Yeah.
reminds
Oh,
me of
no.
the Okami box. They grabbed a PNG from Google for the Okami
Yeah.
box, and an IGN logo is on is on the actual box, which is
That's
That
hilarious.
is great.
hilarious.
You find it, Greg? Is it on there?
Yeah, no, I just got the reg one.
I bet if you have that and
I'm gonna
it's
check
not
real
open,
fast.
that's probably worth some money. I mean,
Oh, I'm
unless
sure.
they
Probably a
released
few
a ton of
dollars,
them.
but
Because
yeah,
like
I think
there's
the whole first wave had it like that. So
yeah, like I used to collect baseball and basketball cards, and every once in a while they would publish a player like on the back they would put that he went to the wrong college or something. And like if you got one of those cards where there was an error, even if it was a nobody player, like that is worth a lot of money because it was a mistake. So
no
I
doubt.
wonder if it's the same with that.
I just saw the C3PO goldenrod card. It was like a
Couldn't find
print. So it's like a print of C3PO from Star Wars. It looks like a golden penis sticking out to the left. And I guess that one's like worth a lot of money.
Oh
makes
my
sense.
lord, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh,
I
we
come
got
back
a
to my
super
computer
chat
and I
from
hear
Brett.
golden penis.
Brett says
Another
this
one?
is for Switch 2.0, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Attack of Ganon, and the Giant
Ooh.
Hand.
Holy
Get
crap.
another Onimushu.
Brett, you do not need to do this. First off, okay. John, reread that because I was just amazed.
This is for Switch 2.0 and Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Attack of Ganon, and the Giant Hand. Let's get another Onimushu.
Giant
Won't
hand.
happen.
Won't happen. Cry emoji.
Oni,
Ooh, so the misprint actually does go for more.
Wow.
Okay.
yeah, I
Brett,
was gonna
seriously
say,
though,
I
thanks
can't
for the
imagine it
super
wouldn't.
chat.
Yeah,
for
dude,
sure.
you're
Thank you so much.
totally unnecessary, but
Yeah,
that's
dude,
awesome,
thank
man.
you.
We appreciate it.
But from now on, it is necessary.
Every episode from here out, we expect at least $50.
Our new show sponsor, Third
Sponsored by
Brett.
Brett's Sewing Machine.
We don't make the rules, we just enforce them.
Yeah.
We don't make the rules. We just write them down and come up with them and enforce them.
But you know,
Now we're
not-
going to shame all the people who haven't donated to us. So all you freeloaders,
No,
on
no,
that-
no.
just joking.
we're just
Speaking
kidding.
of, we
We're
got
just kidding.
Guy
Kidding.
Brush.
We're very
Three-
grateful to have you all.
Guy Brush Threepwood says, "What if Zelda was a girl?" Don't no, that's never gonna happen. Don't talk like
But
that.
Now,
read my comment after though.
yeah,
What'd you say?
you don't have a comment there, Brett. I mean, Greg.
I
Yeah.
said, yeah, if that was true, I'd strip naked and cover myself in ketchup.
Oh, then
Interesting.
whip out the ketchup and whip out something
Wait.
else as well.
Yeah.
All
The
right,
mayonnaise. Okay.
a little off the rails. We
Little
haven't talked
mayonnaise.
that much
Alright.
about the actual direct tomorrow.
Hey,
keep
know
going
what?
down the
We've had some
rabbit
good
hole about
conversations.
Yeah, but
random
honestly,
games.
like
Alright.
how much can we expect? And it's usually
See,
a pretty meaty
mean-
direct when it's the day before, though.
Greg, here's the
that's
thing.
my thing. Yo, go ahead, John.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, here's the thing. When it comes to expecting Nintendo Directs, like there's an ironclad rule. You need to expect like everything you've ever dreamed of in your life, and then be like outraged and disgusted when you get one thing.
You get
Go to
3-4
Twitter
switch.
and
But
tweet
see,
about how disgusted you are.
But they set expectations when people start hyping it up and whatever. And I feel like they do they have done a pretty good job about saying like, no, this one is specifically for this.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it ends and people are like, oh, okay, that was good. Yeah, I appreciate
I
that.
don't have we really had much in terms of them setting expectations though, other than like we're going to be talking about games that'll be coming out the first half of 2022.
I think that right there sort of
they-
sets a little bit of an expectation.
Sure.
Yeah, and also I remember, well, vaguely, because actually I don't remember, but I remember for some of the Super Smash Bros stuff, sometimes they would tweet out specifically to say a new Smash Bros character will not be announced at like such and such events. That is a thing that they used to do.
Yeah.
So like bit by bit, Nintendo is actually getting better at managing these expectations.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you guys like check out like the YouTube chats for like what are they called? The PlayStation State of Plays.
Oh my
I don't
god.
I don't think I have ever seen them be happy about anything in the
They
YouTube
get
chat ever.
destroyed.
Like,
You know, one thing I liked about the PlayStation State of Play though is they, for as many things as Sony doesn't do that's consumer friendly, like the last few, I feel like they've at least set people's expectations. Like a couple State of Plays ago, they literally said, you will not see God of War on this State of Play. You will not see Horizon. It's going to be centered on this type of
indie
game.
games.
Brett,
And
I have
then, and
a,
then
Brett, I
they
have a
did
question
the,
for you though. When did Sony start paying you to say this?
wow.
Yeah.
And wear their T-shirt apparently.
You shall.
But then the
Boo
one in
this man.
September. Then remember the one in September. They're like, okay, this is the big like PlayStation showcase where like the big stuff happens.
And it
this is
usually
like
doesn't
our
disappoint.
E3.
Yeah.
Right, and they straight up like that was the one where Wolverine was showing off, Ragnarok was finally showing off.
Spider-Man,
I mean, they kind of gave you perfect expectations. So I can appreciate that kind of stuff where they're really candid about like this is what's going to happen on the show. Whereas I feel like the last Nintendo Direct, like I was like really excited, and then it happened, and I was like, is there anything I care about on that Direct? And me and Brett talked about it after. I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I think that was the Indie World though, wasn't it?
It might have been. It might have been the Indie
That would
one.
make sense because
Yeah,
the
but
real
this is-
Direct was the one that had Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
That's
But this
true.
is really
Maybe it was the
interesting
Indie one.
though. Like even
Also,
before this
Brett with
direct
another
came
super
about,
chat. This one's for Onimushu to all you guys.
Brett with another super chat. There's freaking 3 Bretts. It's starting to get confusing. He's becoming like a main cast member now.
Brett Sonishin is really me. I'm paying us with everything.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Brett.
you, Brett.
What
That's
if I
awesome, bud.
No,
Thank
but
you
like the
so
one
much.
thing
That's
that
it,
we're
stop.
not really. Hey,
Sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
like before we were even talking about a direct, everybody was talking about the shareholder
Right.
meeting,
You have a good night too. Thanks, Brett.
and then bam, they introduced the direct. So I feel like that's got to be a tee up for something big. Like they just so happen to have the shareholder meeting, and then all of a sudden we get a surprise direct that's coming like a day later. Like, come on.
That's kind of where I'm thinking, can there be anything that big if they're not hyping it up and it just got like stealth announced, you know? So I don't know. I'm tempering my expectations.
All right, I could be completely off, but I genuinely think we're gonna get Xenoblade 3 tomorrow, and with a release date.
That would be
Because-
huge, man. That would be
Because I
huge.
remember when they announced, and again I could be wrong, but I think they announced Xenoblade 2 like the year that the game came out.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Like if not, I'll look it up while we're talking. But like I remember that they announced Xenoblade 2. They said it's coming out like 2017, like holiday 2017. And I remember that because the entire time I was like, there's no way in this universe that it's arriving at that time. Like there's absolutely no way. It's definitely coming out next year. End of story. And then it came
happened.
out on time exactly the way they said it would.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of like what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy too. Like remember
Yeah, I did not
E3,
think
they're
that was
like
gonna hit.
they're like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is announced and it was like 4 or 5 months away. We're like, there's no way they hit that release date. Boom, it came
I thought
out.
it was
and
like 2 or 3 months away from.
it
when
was
they said
really close after E3 and it was phenomenal. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I
it's
think
like it can happen.
Didn't it have like an August release date or something?
I think it was was it August? I
It was like a really weird time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can't remember the exact date, but it was not far after E3. And
October.
man, they hit the date. October still though. June to October for a big game like that. That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. And also,
for
for the
sure.
record, according to Wikipedia anyway, I was correct. It was announced in 2017 and it was released in 2017. Crazy.
wow.
Absolutely
that's amazing.
crazy.
And
For a
those games
game
are
that
massive
size.
too. Like
Yeah.
Xenoblade games aren't they like 50 to 70 hour games?
Yeah, it took me
Yeah,
like 80 hours to beat
Those
it.
games, like, I mean, granted, like, a lot of the length is like freaking padding from fetch quests and stuff, which I got tired of. But like, with those included, the game can basically be like as long as you want it to be. It can
Mhm.
go on and on if you want it to.
To be honest,
But-
I play them on easy just to get rid of a lot of the grinding and a lot of the
Mm.
worrying about the combat or dying. So
Mm.
I'll play them on the easiest difficulty. I don't care because what I enjoy the most is just the worlds, the characters, the music, it's just very engrossing and fun to just relax and play.
You're not a real gamer.
Like,
Yeah, as you say, you're not a true gamer.
I beat Halo Infinite on Legendary, so that's pretty cool.
That's true. Yeah.
You ain't got a lie to kick it.
It's funny though, for like as much as I'm talking about Xenoblade, I actually didn't like the second one that much.
Really?
Oh,
Man.
wow.
Oh yeah. So like if the third
Brett
one
loved
doesn't
it.
feel like a really fresh, like something new, then like I'm kind of just done with it. But
Dang.
we'll see.
I'm hoping it's something like fresh, kind of like how X was. X was like very different than the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the show. It's been a pretty long one, but we're at about an hour and a half, so might as well wrap it up. So, Greg, if people want to find you, where can they go?
You can find me mostly on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. Twitch.tv/dynamite_giraffe. I've been playing through Horizon Zero Dawn every Monday at 9:30 p.m. CST.
Let's go.
And then I'm going to be, of course, streaming the new season of Apex, usually on the weekends. I dedicate a lot of time to that. But yeah, across all socials, Dynamite_giraffe.
Get this man some followers on Twitch.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Go follow Greg on Twitch. Brett, if people want to find you, where can they go?
Like I said last time, anything I do, it's always the same username, B_Lars24, mainly on Twitter. I do have a Twitch. I don't stream, but those are, like I said, if you're going to look me up, B_Lars24 would be how to find
Is that
me.
the same on the DILF dating app?
Yes, it is.
Dang it, I snorted. Okay. John, I saved you for last because I was hoping you came up with something clever to say. Where can people find you?
You can find me on page 7 of X videos. I'm aiming for page 4 by the end of the year.
I'm an ex-hamster guy myself, but I'll look for you.
This is a Nintendo podcast. Okay, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at BrettNLL. I have some big things in the works that I can't talk about yet, but I will get there. So thanks.
And also, real quick, my real shout out to myself.
Oh yeah.
You can check out my video game in development. It's called Boss Saga. It's got a website, boss-saga.com.
How do you spell Saga?
SAGA.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. Thanks a lot for hanging out. This has been Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast where we come at you every Tuesday night. We're very excited about tomorrow with a big Nintendo Direct. I cannot wait. Guys,
yes.
See you later.
See you guys.
See ya.